What happens when a wealthy socialite stands in Judge Judy's courtroom and accuses a decorated police officer of targeting her because of her skin color, her designer clothes, and her luxury car? What happens when she cries on camera about being traumatized, terrorized, and treated like a criminal, all while expecting the judge and the audience to automatically believe every word? This is the story of Amanda Richardson, a 44-year-old real estate developer wearing a Chanel blazer worth more than most people's weekly salary, who walked into that courtroom absolutely certain she would walk out with $5,000 in damages and an apology from the officer she had publicly destroyed on social media. She had used this strategy before. She had perfected the tears, the trembling voice, the carefully chosen words designed to make everyone see her as the victim. And it had worked every single time. But Amanda Richardson made one catastrophic mistake. She assumed that Judge Judy would believe her performance without asking for evidence. She assumed that tears and accusations would be enough to override facts. She assumed that the dashcam mounted on Officer Marcus Thompson's patrol car had somehow failed to record every single second of their encounter. She was wrong about all of it. And when Judge Judy pulls out a folder containing not just the dashcam footage, but Amanda Richardson's complete driving history spanning 7 years of lies and false accusations, the truth that emerges will be so devastating, so undeniable, that it exposes a pattern of behavior that should terrify every real victim of discrimination in America. The case begins on a Thursday afternoon in Judge Judy's packed courtroom. The audience members have been buzzing since they saw the case description posted outside. A discrimination lawsuit against a police officer always generates controversy, always divides opinion, always promises drama. But something about this particular case feels different. There is electricity in the air, tension that seems to crackle between the plaintiff's table and the defendant's table before a single word has been spoken. Amanda Richardson sits in the plaintiff's chair with the posture of someone who expects to be believed. Her blonde hair is professionally styled, falling in perfect waves around her shoulders. Her makeup is flawless, designed to look natural while actually requiring 2 hours of careful application. Diamond studs catch the studio lights each time she moves her head. Her Hermes handbag rests beside her chair like a trophy, like proof of her status, like a silent argument that someone like her could never be in the wrong. But it is not the expensive accessories that fill the courtroom with unease. It is the way she keeps glancing at Officer Marcus Thompson with an expression of barely concealed contempt. It is the way she dabs at perfectly dry eyes with a tissue, practicing the tears she plans to produce later. It is the way she has already positioned herself as the victim before anyone has heard a single fact about this case. Officer Marcus Thompson sits at the defendant's table in his formal dress uniform. The contrast between them is stark and immediate. This is a man who has spent 18 years serving his community, responding to emergencies, putting his life on the line for strangers. His chest displays 4 commendations for valor, 2 community service medals, and a pin recognizing his work with at-risk youth. His posture is military straight, professional despite the humiliating circumstances that have brought him to this television courtroom. His captain sits in the gallery behind him, present to show departmental support for an officer whose career has been threatened by accusations that the department has already investigated and found baseless. Officer Thompson's eyes carry the weariness of someone who has seen this before. Someone who knows that even false accusations leave permanent marks on a reputation. Someone who has watched colleagues lose their careers, their families, their faith in justice because of lies that spread faster than truth could ever catch up. Judge Judy enters the courtroom with her characteristic energy, taking her seat and immediately beginning to review the case file. Her eyes scan the documents, and something in her expression shifts almost imperceptibly. In 35 years on the bench, she has developed instincts that border on supernatural. She can spot a liar within 30 seconds of watching them speak. She can identify manipulation, performance, and practice deception with the accuracy of a lie detector. And everything about Amanda Richardson triggers every alarm bell Judge Judy possesses. The 2 perfect tears. The designer armor worn like a costume. the theatrical trembling that seems calculated rather than genuine. Judge Judy has seen real victims of discrimination. She has seen the raw, unpolished pain of people who have been genuinely wronged by the system. Real victims do not perform. Real victims tell the truth with emotion that cannot be rehearsed. This woman is giving a performance, and Judge Judy knows it. The case is announced formally. Amanda Richardson versus Officer Marcus Thompson. The plaintiff is suing for $5,000, claiming racial profiling, harassment, emotional distress, and abuse of authority. She alleges that Officer Thompson pulled her over in a predominantly minority neighborhood solely because she is white, that he was aggressive and threatening throughout the encounter, that he issued a completely fabricated speeding ticket to meet some department quota, and that the traumatic experience has required ongoing therapy. Her attorney has prepared an elaborate opening statement about systemic bias and the chilling effect of profiling on innocent citizens. The gallery is divided. Some audience members look at Amanda's tears and expensive presentation and assume she must be telling the truth. Why would someone so clearly successful lie about something so serious? Others, including a black woman in the fourth row who watches with her arms crossed and eyes narrowed, sense that something is deeply wrong with this narrative. The woman has seen real racism, experienced real discrimination, and what she is watching from Amanda Richardson does not match anything authentic. Judge Judy gestures for the plaintiff to begin. Amanda takes a deep breath with theatrical precision, composing herself as if steeling for an ordeal. When she speaks, her voice carries exactly the right amount of tremor, exactly the right note of wounded dignity. Your Honor, I have never been so frightened in my entire life. I was driving through the Westbrook neighborhood, visiting a client who was interested in purchasing property in the area. I was being extremely careful because I was unfamiliar with the streets. Suddenly, I saw police lights behind me, and my heart just dropped. I knew immediately that something was wrong because I had done nothing illegal. I pulled over right away, and this officer, she gestures toward Marcus Thompson without actually looking at him, approached my car in the most threatening manner imaginable. His hand was hovering near his weapon like he expected me to be dangerous. Like I was some kind of criminal. She pauses to dab at her eyes again. I am a successful businesswoman, Your Honor. I have never had any trouble with the law. I follow traffic laws religiously because I understand how important public safety is. But the moment Officer Thompson saw my face, saw that I was a white woman in a luxury vehicle driving through a predominantly black neighborhood, he decided I must be doing something wrong. He decided to target me. This is racial profiling, plain and simple. He stopped me because of my race and my appearance. And he wanted to prove some kind of point about who belongs in that neighborhood. Amanda Richardson continues, building her narrative with details that sound specific enough to be credible, painting a picture designed to generate maximum sympathy from everyone watching. I asked Officer Thompson very politely why he had stopped me, she says, her voice quivering with practiced emotion, and he immediately became hostile. He demanded my license in this aggressive, threatening tone. He refused to explain the reason for the stop. When I asked for his badge number because I felt genuinely unsafe, he became even more hostile. He acted like my question was some kind of personal insult. She shakes her head slowly, as if still struggling to process the trauma. He wrote me a ticket claiming I was going 58 miles per hour in a 25 mile per hour zone, which is absolutely absurd. I was driving maybe 28 or 30 at the most, barely over the limit, if at all. But he wanted to punish me for questioning his authority. He wanted to make an example of me for daring to ask why I was being stopped. So he fabricated this ridiculous speed violation to justify his discriminatory behavior. Amanda's voice rises with manufactured indignation. The entire encounter lasted over an hour, Your Honor. More than an hour of him standing by my car, intimidating me, making comments about how people who look like me should stay in neighborhoods where they belong. He treated me like I was less than human, like my expensive car and my white skin made me a target rather than a citizen with rights. Asterisk. She produces a tissue from her Hermes bag and dabs at her eyes again. I drove home shaking uncontrollably. I could not eat that night. I could not sleep. My teenage daughter asked why I was crying, and I had to explain to her that sometimes people in authority abuse their power. I have had to take time off work to process this trauma. I have been seeing a therapist twice a week since this incident occurred. I filed formal complaints with the police department. I have contacted civil rights organizations, and I am here today because Officer Thompson needs to face consequences for his discriminatory behavior and his abuse of the authority entrusted to him. Her attorney stands, adding his practice outrage to her performance. Your Honor, my client was clearly profiled based on her race and socioeconomic presentation. Officer Thompson saw a successful white woman driving a luxury vehicle in a minority neighborhood, and he made assumptions. He saw an easy target, someone he assumed would be too intimidated to fight back, and he abused his power. We are asking for $5,000 in damages to cover therapy costs and lost work time. But more importantly, we are asking for accountability. We are asking for justice. We are asking this court to send a message that discrimination in any form will not be tolerated. Judge Judy's expression has remained unchanged throughout this entire performance. When she speaks, her voice carries deceptive gentleness. Miss Richardson, you stated that you have never had any trouble with the law, never had any traffic violations. Your driving record is completely clean. You are absolutely certain about that statement? Amanda nods emphatically, sensing an opportunity to reinforce her credibility. 100% certain, Your Honor. I am an excellent driver. I have never received so much as a parking ticket in my entire life. That is exactly how I know this citation was completely unjustified. Officer Thompson targeted me because of my race, my car, and my presence in that neighborhood. He saw an opportunity to harass a successful white woman, and he took it. I have never given any law enforcement officer any reason to stop me before this incident because I have always followed every traffic law meticulously. Judge Judy leans back slightly in her chair, and that dangerous smile plays at the corners of her mouth. The smile that regular viewers recognize as the calm before an absolute storm. Not a single traffic citation in your entire driving history. Not one. Amanda's confidence grows visibly. She misreads Judge Judy's calm as acceptance, as belief. That is correct, Your Honor. My driving record is spotless. Completely clean. Which is exactly why this fabricated ticket is so outrageous and so clearly motivated by discrimination. I have been driving for over 25 years, and I have never once been stopped by police because I have never once given anyone a reason to stop me. Judge Judy opens a folder slowly, deliberately, her eyes never leaving Amanda's face. That is very interesting, Miss Richardson. We will definitely come back to that statement. But first, I would like to hear from Officer Thompson. Officer, please tell us your version of what happened that afternoon. Officer Marcus Thompson stands with military precision. His voice is clear, steady, and professional, despite being publicly accused of racism on national television. Your Honor, on the afternoon in question, I was conducting routine traffic patrol on Jefferson Boulevard in the Westbrook neighborhood. It is a residential street with a posted speed limit of 25 miles per hour. At approximately 2:38 in the afternoon, I observed a white Mercedes sedan traveling at an extremely high rate of speed through the residential zone. I activated my radar equipment and clocked the vehicle at 72 miles per hour. He pauses to let that number register with the courtroom. Let me repeat that, Your Honor. The vehicle was traveling at 72 miles per hour in a 25 mile per hour zone. That is 47 miles per hour over the posted limit. I want to explain something important about the citation I issued. When I stopped Miss Richardson and confirmed the speed violation, I made a deliberate decision to reduce the recorded speed from 72 to 58 miles per hour on the ticket. The reason is simple. Under state law, 72 miles per hour in a 25 zone constitutes reckless driving in the first degree. That charge carries a mandatory court appearance, automatic license suspension for 1 year, and possible arrest and booking at the scene. I reduced the citation speed as a professional courtesy to allow Miss Richardson to keep her license. avoid criminal charges, and handle this matter with a simple fine. I was trying to help her. Officer Thompson takes a breath before continuing. Your Honor, there is another critical detail that needs to be understood. Jefferson Boulevard runs directly past Riverside Elementary School. At 2:38 in the afternoon, school dismissal was in progress. There were crossing guards actively stopping traffic. There were teachers supervising students. There were parents with younger children in strollers. There were children as young as 5 and 6 years old walking to waiting cars and buses. Miss Richardson was driving 72 miles per hour past an elementary school during active dismissal. If any child had stepped into that street, if any child had chased a ball or run toward a parent, there would have been no time to brake, no time to swerve, no time to do anything except watch a tragedy unfold. We would be having a very different conversation in a very different courtroom. The impact of his words settles over the audience. Several people who had been watching Amanda with sympathy now look at her with very different expressions. Judge Judy's face has gone completely still. Officer Thompson continues. Your Honor, I have complete dashcam footage from my patrol vehicle. High-definition video with clear audio and timestamps that cannot be altered. The recording captures the entire encounter from the moment I activated my lights until Miss Richardson drove away with her citation. Every single claim she has made can be verified or disproved by that footage. Judge Judy nods. We will watch that footage shortly. But first, Miss Richardson claimed you approached her vehicle with your hand on your weapon. That you were aggressive and threatening. That you made comments about where she belongs. Is any of that accurate? Officer Thompson shakes his head firmly. No, Your Honor. Absolutely not. Standard departmental procedure requires officers to keep their hands visible at all times during traffic stops. This is for both officer safety and civilian comfort. My dashcam will clearly show that my hands were never anywhere near my service weapon. I approached the vehicle holding my citation book and a pen, exactly as I have done thousands of times during my 18 years of service. I made no comments about neighborhoods or belonging. I followed procedure exactly as trained. Asterisk. Judge Judy continues her questioning with the methodical precision that has made her legendary. In the duration of this stop, Officer Thompson, Miss Richardson claims she was detained for over an hour, that you stood by her car intimidating her for more than 60 minutes. Officer Thompson consults his incident report. The stop lasted exactly 8 minutes and 47 seconds from the moment I activated my lights until the encounter concluded. Not over an hour. Not even close. I approached the vehicle, identified myself, explained that I had clocked her at 72 miles per hour in a 25 mile per hour school zone. Miss Richardson immediately became combative. She stated that my radar was broken, that she was barely moving, and that I had clearly pulled her over because and I am reading directly from my contemporaneous notes. A racist officer who cannot stand seeing successful white people in black neighborhoods. Judge Judy's eyebrows rise. Those were her exact words. Yes, Your Honor. Miss Richardson refused to provide her license for nearly 3 minutes. She demanded to speak to my supervisor. She threatened to have me fired. She stated that her lawyers would end my career. She recorded portions of the interaction on her phone while shouting accusations of racial profiling. She told me I was a disgrace to my badge and that people like me should not be allowed to wear a uniform. The courtroom is absolutely silent. Every eye is fixed on Officer Thompson as he continues his testimony. Your Honor, I maintain professionalism throughout the entire encounter. I explained the violation clearly. I reduced the speed on the citation specifically to help her avoid reckless driving charges that would have resulted in arrest. I provided my badge number when she demanded it. I wished her a safe day when the stop concluded. Miss Richardson responded by stating that she would destroy my reputation and make sure the whole world knew what kind of racist I was. Officer Thompson produces printed documents from his folder. She followed through on that threat, Your Honor. Within hours of our encounter, she posted about it on 4 different social media platforms. She created a narrative of racial profiling that went viral in our community. She identified me by name and badge number. She posted my photograph. She encouraged her followers to file complaints against me. My department received 143 complaints within 48 hours based solely on her accusations. I was placed on administrative leave pending a full investigation while these claims were reviewed. Even though the investigation cleared me completely after reviewing the dashcam footage, her posts are still online. They are still being shared. My reputation has been permanently damaged by accusations that the evidence proves are completely false. Judge Judy removes her glasses, a gesture that regular viewers recognize as ominous. Officer Thompson, in your 18 years on the force, have you ever been accused of racial bias before this incident? Asterisk never, Your Honor. Not once. My record is spotless. My partners over the years have included officers of every race. My community relationships are documented extensively in my personnel file. I coach youth basketball in the Westbrook neighborhood. I volunteer at the community center 3 times a month. I understand that real racism exists in law enforcement. I understand that real profiling happens and that real victims of discrimination deserve justice and protection. But false accusations like Miss Richardson's make it harder for real victims to be believed. She weaponized a serious issue to avoid consequences for driving 72 miles per hour past an elementary school full of children. Judge Judy turns to the production team. Let us watch this dashcam footage that Officer Thompson claims proves Miss Richardson lied about everything. She addresses Amanda directly. Miss Richardson, I want you to pay very close attention to what we are about to see, because your testimony under oath is about to be compared directly against video evidence with audio. And Amanda shifts uncomfortably in her chair. She whispers urgently with her attorney, who suddenly looks like he is calculating the fastest possible exit from this courtroom and from this case. The lights dim slightly as multiple screens throughout the courtroom display the dashcam footage. The timestamp appears clearly, showing the exact date and time. The dashcam shows Officer Thompson's patrol car driving at a moderate speed down Jefferson Boulevard. In the distance, Riverside Elementary School is clearly visible. Yellow crossing guard vests are bright against the background. Children in colorful backpacks dot the sidewalks. Parents stand in clusters near the crosswalk. A crossing guard holds a stop sign while a group of young students crosses the street. Suddenly, a white Mercedes rockets past the patrol car so fast that it appears almost as a blur on the high-definition camera. The radar display in the corner of the screen shows a number that makes several audience members gasp audibly. 72 mph. The digits glow on screen, undeniable, documented, impossible to dispute. Officer Thompson's voice comes through the audio, calm and professional. Vehicle traveling extremely fast through school zone. Children present. Initiating traffic stop. His tone carries no anger, no hostility, just the matter-of-fact professionalism of an experienced officer doing his job to protect lives. The patrol car follows. The Mercedes with lights and sirens activated. What happens next contradicts another of Amanda's claims. The Mercedes does not pull over immediately as she testified. Instead, it continues for nearly 3 full blocks before finally stopping. Officer Thompson reports his location and the vehicle description to dispatch. Following standard procedure, he exits his patrol car and the camera angle clearly shows both of his hands. They are holding his citation book and a pen. No weapon drawn. No threatening posture. No aggressive stance. Just a professional officer approaching a traffic stop exactly as he has been trained during 18 years of service. Good afternoon, ma'am. I am Officer Thompson with the City Police Department. I stopped you because you were traveling 72 miles per hour in a 25-mile-per-hour school zone with children present. May I see your license and registration, please? His tone is respectful, clear, completely non-threatening. Amanda Richardson's voice comes through the audio, and the contrast to Officer Thompson's professionalism is jarring. Excuse me? I was not speeding. Your equipment is obviously broken. I want your badge number right now. This is harassment. There is no fear in her voice. No trauma, no terror. Just immediate hostility and entitlement. The dash cam footage continues playing on every screen in the courtroom. Officer Thompson's voice remains patient despite Amanda's immediate accusations. "Ma'am, I will provide my badge number. But first I need your license and registration. This is a legal traffic stop for a serious speed violation in a school zone." Amanda's response cuts through the courtroom speakers like a blade. "I know exactly why you stopped me. You saw my car. You saw that I am white. And you decided to harass me because you do not think people like me belong in this neighborhood. This is racial profiling and I am recording everything. Do you understand? Everything you say and do is being documented. My attorneys are going to have a field day with this." Officer Thompson remains remarkably composed on the footage. "Ma'am, I stopped you because you were driving 72 miles per hour past an elementary school during student dismissal. This has nothing to do with your race or your vehicle. This is about public safety. There are children present. Your speed was extremely dangerous. The video shows Amanda refusing to provide her documents for over 3 full minutes. She is visible through her car window, animated and hostile, pointing her finger at Officer Thompson while he stands waiting patiently. She demands a supervisor. She threatens lawsuits. She makes repeated accusations of racism while the officer maintains his professional composure despite everything being thrown at him. Finally, Amanda throws her license through the window. The plastic card strikes Officer Thompson in the chest before falling to the ground. "There, happy now? Harassing innocent people must make you feel so important. You people are all the same." Officer Thompson bends down slowly, picks up the license with his dignity intact, and returns to his patrol car to run her information. The timestamp shows he is back at her window within 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Not over an hour. Not even 10 minutes. Miss Richardson, I am issuing you a citation for driving 58 miles per hour in a 25 mile per hour zone. I have reduced the speed from the actual 72 I clocked you at because that would constitute reckless driving with mandatory arrest and license suspension. I am doing you a significant favor, so you can keep your license and handle this with a fine. Amanda's voice rises with outrage on the recording. "A favor? You are giving me a ticket for something I did not do because you are a racist who cannot stand seeing successful white people in your precious neighborhood. I am going to destroy your career. I am going to make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of officer you are. You think you can intimidate me, but you cannot." Officer Thompson hands her the citation through the window. "Ma'am, you have the right to contest this citation in court. My badge number is printed on the ticket. Please drive safely, especially near schools where children are walking." Amanda snatches the ticket from his hand. "Do not lecture me about children. Do not talk to me about safety. This is discrimination and the whole world is going to know about it. Your career is over." The video shows Officer Thompson walking back to his patrol car. The timestamp confirms the entire interaction lasted exactly 8 minutes and 47 seconds. Not over an hour. Not even close. The audio picks up Officer Thompson's voice once he's back in his vehicle, speaking to himself as he completes his paperwork. Another false accusation coming. At least the dashcam has the truth. Asterisk, the video ends. The courtroom sits in complete stunned silence. Every single claim Amanda Richardson made has been systematically destroyed by video evidence. She was not polite. She was hostile and aggressive from the first moment. Officer Thompson was not threatening. He showed remarkable patience while being accused of racism and having his help thrown back in his face. The stop was not over an hour. It was under 9 minutes. She was not driving 28 miles per hour. She was doing 72 past a school full of children. Amanda Richardson's face has transformed from confident to pale to ashen gray. Her attorney is already gathering his papers, preparing to distance himself from this catastrophe. Judge Judy sits forward, and when she speaks, her voice is deadly quiet. The kind of quiet that precedes complete destruction. "Miss Richardson, we just watched video evidence that contradicts every single claim you made under oath in my courtroom. Every single one. You were not driving 28 or 30 miles per hour. You were driving 72 miles per hour past an elementary school during dismissal with children present. Officer Thompson did not approach you aggressively. He was a model of professionalism while you threw your license at him and hurled accusations of racism. The stop did not last over an hour. It lasted less than 9 minutes. Would you like to explain these discrepancies, or should we acknowledge that you committed perjury in my courtroom? Amanda attempts to recover. Your Honor, I was emotional. I was traumatized by the encounter. Perhaps I remembered some details incorrectly, but the core issue remains valid. I felt profiled. I felt targeted. My feelings about what happened are valid, even if some minor details were not perfectly accurate. Asterisk. Judge Judy's voice cuts through like a scalpel. Feelings do not override facts, Miss Richardson. Driving 72 miles per hour past children is not a minor detail. Throwing your license at an officer is not a minor detail. Lying under oath in my courtroom is not a minor detail. But before we address the perjury you just committed, let us talk about another lie you told. You stated under oath that you have never had a traffic citation. Not one, ever. You said your driving record is completely spotless. You were very emphatic about that. Do you remember making that statement? Amanda nods weakly. Yes, but Your Honor, I can explain if you will just let me judge. Judy holds up her hand. No explanations yet. Officer Thompson, when you ran Miss Richardson's license during this traffic stop, what did you find? Asterisk. Officer Thompson stands, pulling documentation from his evidence folder. Your Honor, when I ran Miss Richardson's license, her record showed 9 prior speeding citations in the past 7 years. Not 0. 9. The courtroom erupts in gasps and shocked whispers. Amanda's face turns crimson as Judge Judy opens her own thick folder with deliberate precision. That is very interesting, Officer Thompson, because I did my own research last night. Miss Richardson, let us review your driving history together, shall we? Asterisk. Judge Judy begins reading from her folder with the precision of a prosecutor delivering a closing argument. April 2017. Speeding 52 in a 30 zone. Citation dismissed after you filed a complaint claiming the officer was discriminatory against women. August 2017. Speeding 61 in a 35 zone. Citation dismissed after you claimed the officer targeted you because of your luxury vehicle and made classist remarks. February 2018. Running a red light. Citation dismissed after you accused the officer of racial profiling. That officer, by the way, was Hispanic. Judge Judy continues, her voice building in intensity with each entry. July 2018. Speeding in a school zone. 49 in a 20 zone. Citation reduced to a parking violation after you claimed gender discrimination against the male officer who stopped you. December 2018. Reckless driving. Dismissed after you filed complaints of harassment. March 2019. Speeding. Dismissed after you accused the officer of targeting successful businesswomen. September 2019. Another school zone violation. Reduced after you threatened lawsuits for discrimination. January 2020. Speeding again. Dismissed after you accused that officer of bias against wealthy citizens. June 2021. Speeding. Dismissed after you claimed the officer made derogatory comments about white people. Judge Judy sets down the folder and stares at Amanda with undisguised contempt. 9 violations, Miss Richardson. 9 times you were caught breaking traffic laws. And 9 times you made accusations of discrimination, bias, harassment, or profiling to escape consequences. You have accused Hispanic officers of racism. You have accused male officers of sexism. You have accused female officers of jealousy. You have accused black officers of reverse racism. The only common denominator in all of these incidents is you and your absolute refusal to accept responsibility for your dangerous driving. Amanda attempts to interrupt. Those incidents were different. I was legitimately discriminated against in those cases. Just because there were multiple incidents does not mean. Judge Judy's voice rises to fill the entire courtroom. All 9 times. Every single officer who caught you speeding was discriminating against you. Every single one. Or is it possible, Miss Richardson, that you are a reckless driver who hides behind serious accusations to avoid consequences for a behavior that endangers innocent lives? You were driving 72 miles per hour past a school full of children. Children, Miss Richardson. 5 and 6-year-olds walking home from school. And instead of being grateful that none of them died because of your recklessness, you immediately accused a decorated officer of racism. Judge Judy stands from her bench, and the entire courtroom seems to hold its breath. Officer Thompson, you mentioned that false accusations harm real victims. Explain that for everyone watching. Officer Thompson stands, his voice carrying the weight of 18 years of experience. Your Honor, when someone weaponizes accusations of racism or discrimination, it diminishes the experiences of people who actually face those injustices every single day. Real victims of profiling have a harder time being believed because of cases exactly like this one. Miss Richardson was not stopped because she is white. She was stopped because she was driving 72 miles per hour past children. But she knew that if she made it about race, some people would automatically believe her without asking questions. Some people would share her posts without checking facts. That calculation is not just wrong. It is harmful to everyone who faces real discrimination and deserves to be believed. Judge Judy nods and turns back to Amanda. And the social media posts, Officer Thompson? What happened after your encounter? Officer Thompson produces printouts from his folder. Your Honor, Miss Richardson posted about our encounter on 4 major platforms within hours. She called me a racist cop. She posted my photograph, my name, my badge number. She claimed I harassed her for being white and encouraged her followers to file complaints. Within 48 hours, my department received 143 complaints based solely on her accusations. I was placed on administrative leave while everything was investigated. My name was dragged through the media. My family received threats. My children were harassed at school. Even though the investigation completely cleared me, those posts are still online. They are still being shared. The damage to my reputation is permanent. Judge Judy removes her glasses slowly. So Miss Richardson did not just lie to avoid a ticket. She actively worked to destroy your career, your reputation, and your family's peace. She launched a calculated campaign of destruction against a decorated officer who was trying to protect children. She turns to Amanda with an expression of absolute contempt. Miss Richardson, I want you to listen very carefully to what I am about to say. In 35 years on the bench, I have seen liars. I have seen manipulators. I have seen people try every trick imaginable to avoid accountability. But what you have done is particularly despicable. You weaponize serious accusations of racism to destroy the career of a good officer who is trying to protect children from your reckless driving. You did not just lie. You launched a campaign of public destruction that affected this man's career, his family, and his community standing. Judge Judy's voice fills the entire courtroom with righteous fury. Officer Thompson caught you driving 72 miles per hour past an elementary school during dismissal. Children were present. Lives were at risk. And instead of accepting responsibility for endangering those children, instead of being grateful that your recklessness did not kill someone, you immediately accused him of racism. Not because you believed it. Not because there was any evidence. But because you have learned over 9 previous violations that making these accusations gets you out of consequences. You have turned discrimination accusations into a get-out-of-jail-free card. She points directly at Amanda. You are not a victim, Miss Richardson. You are a predator. You prey on the legitimate suffering of real discrimination victims to serve your own selfish purposes. Every time someone like you makes a false accusation, you make it harder for real victims to be believed. You damage the cause of everyone who has actually experienced racism and profiling. You are part of the problem, not the solution. Judge Judy delivers her verdict with thunderous finality. Your lawsuit is dismissed with prejudice. I am awarding Officer Thompson $5,000 in damages for defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress. You will remove every social media post about this officer within 24 hours. You will post a public apology on every platform where you made these accusations, admitting that you lied. I am forwarding this case to the district attorney with a recommendation for perjury charges. You lied under oath in my courtroom. I am forwarding your 9-citation pattern to the DMV with a recommendation that your license be permanently revoked. Someone who has escaped consequences 9 times through false accusations should never be allowed to drive again. And you will complete 200 hours of community service at a civil rights organization that handles real discrimination cases. You will sit in those offices and listen to real victims tell their stories. Maybe then you will understand the damage you have caused. The gavel comes down with a crack that echoes through the silent courtroom. The audience erupts in applause. Officer Thompson's captain stands and salutes. Amanda Richardson sits frozen in humiliation as her attorney hurries out without looking back. 6 months later, Amanda Richardson completed her community service. Having finally learned what real discrimination looks like, her license was revoked. Her real estate career collapsed. Her social media posts became cautionary tales about the consequences of false accusations. Officer Marcus Thompson received a commendation for his professionalism and continues serving his community with the same integrity he has always shown. He speaks at police academies about maintaining composure under false accusations. He mentors young officers about the importance of dash cams and documentation. And Judge Judy's words continue to echo across millions of shares and comments. The truth does not care about your performance. Evidence does not discriminate. And false accusations harm everyone, especially the real victims who deserve justice. In this courtroom, consequences are guaranteed for those who weaponize serious accusations to escape. Accountability for their own dangerous behavior, justice served. Truth vindicated. Lies exposed forever.